Hey, you guys, it's your girl Aquila coming straight at you from Diva-Villege. My mind, my thoughts. So, last week we talked about suicide in kids, and for some reason, I'm going on with another topic about kids. And this topic that I'm talking about tonight, as you can see, is already on the screen, and it's called Let Kids Be Kids. Now, the reason why I'm saying let kids be kids is because sometimes as adults, you push your kids to grow up too fast and put them in situations. Hey, Ann, how are you? You put your kids in situations that they shouldn't be in. Um, Last week when we were talking about the suicide, I hope you guys got a chance to go back to look at it, to watch it, to see what it was all about. Hey, Kathy, how are you? So I want to just go right into this show tonight because I think it's really interesting. I have my points, and I'm going to start off with this first one. Let me put it on the screen for you guys. Okay. Can you guys see that? Okay. So my first topic that I want to talk about is your kids are not a babysitter or a co-parent. Now, I'm not saying that older kids shouldn't watch their younger siblings. What I'm saying is you shouldn't make it as though it's part of their job. This is what they're supposed to do. Okay? Um, your kids have mothers, your kids have fathers. Sometimes they're in a broken home and the two are not together. But because you are not together, doesn't mean that you should force your other kids to become a co-parent to their siblings. I mean, like you're going out and you'll say to your kids, right? Make sure they eat, make sure they take a bath, make sure they get to bed on time. Exactly, Kathy. Your kids are not supposed to be. I just want to put your comment on, so I just want to make sure I give everybody a fair chance. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm saying this to say if you're going to go out, you make sure before you go to hang out or whatever it is that you're going to do. Hey, Deidre, how are you? Make sure that your kids have had a bath. You make sure that your kid has eaten already. It's not the responsibility of the older kids to fall in line to be a co-parent for you. You make sure that all your responsibilities are taken care of. It's to the point that parents are saying to their younger kids, make sure you listen to your older brother. Make sure you listen to your older sister, which making these kids think, you know what? These are my kids, so I can discipline these kids. I can beat these kids. I can chastise these kids. I can do whatever I want to do to these kids. But just think, you are giving them that responsibility. You are giving them that leeway. So when you allow them to step into your circle and be a co-parent to their younger siblings and they're disciplining them, what can you say? This is why I say let kids be kids. I don't think that one child should be able to discipline another child. Okay? I think if anybody's going to discipline anybody in the household, it should be a parent, not one of the other kids that is in the house. Another thing when I say let kids be kids is your kids are not your therapist. Now, this is big. And the reason why I say your kids are not your therapist is because there's times when the mother and father is separated. And when they're separated, the mother feels that she has to talk to the kid to let the kid know that everything that's going on. No, that's not your therapist. You do not sit down and have those conversations with your kids. Why? Because when you decide that you're going to make up with that person, that kid still has those ideas and those thoughts in their mind. Hold on, you guys. Let me take this off so I can put this other comment on. Okay. Okay. They need to have responsibility for being children. You're right. They have to be children. When you talk to kids about your personal business, it makes them know too much. When it comes down to things like child support, or me and your father's not together, or me and your mother's not together, that's none of the child's business. Okay? Only thing that child needs to know is my mother loves me, my father loves me. Whatever is going on between the parents, the kids should not be a part of that. That is not your therapist. You do not sit down and talk to your kid, tell your kid all this information about the other parent, and then expect this not to affect the kid. If you are having problems with them, there's no reason why that child should know. Only thing that child should know is that I have two happy parents. That's the only thing that child should know. Uh, Kathy says, pay for a babysitter. And she also says, keep it real with them, but adults to limit to all truth. Kathy, now what I have to say about that is this. Keeping it real to them about what? Certain things kids just should not be privy to. They just shouldn't know. If you're going through problems and stuff with your significant other, your kids should not be a part of that, because whose side do you think they're going to take? If they're living with the mother, they're going to take the mother's side. If they're living with the father, they're going to take the father's side. That loyalty thing is going to kick in. And that's why I feel that kids shouldn't be forced to have to choose between a parent, to say which parent is right and which parent is wrong. Yeah, I do believe in keeping it real. But when I say keep it real with them, I think you should let that child know, or reinforce to that child, that I love you and so do your father. Or if you're a male, I love you and so do your mother. Don't put your child in that place where they have to pick and choose. Again, they are not a therapist. If you sit down and you're talking to your child, and that child sees that you're upset for some reason, for something that other person did, that child is going to want to comfort you. That child is going to want to be there for you. And regardless of what that other person has to say, because the child is not there with that person, that child is going to take that person's side that they're living with. I love you, Kathy. Bills that need to be paid. Okay, again, that child is not your therapist. So if there's bills that have to be paid, that child can't pay the bill. So whatever the situation is with you and that person, you're going to work that out. You're not going to bring that child into that little area right there, because what is that child going to do? So the child is going to be mad and they say, Kathy, girl, you are moving tonight. Hold on, Kathy. So the child is going to be upset because, okay, now we don't have cable. Daddy didn't pay the cable, or we don't have cable. Mommy didn't give me the child support. That's not something that the kids should be a part of. Kathy say there are responsibilities of keeping the lights off. There is a responsibility for keeping lights on and off, but whose responsibility is it? That's the question. It's both people's responsibility. It's not just the father and it's not just the mother. So if the lights go out in your house, you can't say to the child, the lights is out because your father didn't give me any money. No, we don't do that. Because now that child thinks that everything that happened and is wrong, it's the father's fault. Hold on, Kathy. Let me see. Kathy says, turn off my lights and turn off my water. Again, now, as a responsible parent, you're in that house. Whether somebody gives you anything or not, you're not going to let those lights go out. You're not going to let that water go off. You are going to make sure what has to be done is done. That's why if it's any conversation that needs to be handled on the backside, you're going to go to that other person away from the child and have that conversation. Hold on. Let me see. Kathy says, never, ever spoke ill of husbands. You're never supposed to speak ill of anybody, Kathy. Again, what conversation you're going to have with that person, you're going to have it away from that child. You're not going to have it with that child. That's why I said your kid is not your therapist. You're not going to sit down and go through all the pros and cons, or all the good things or all the bad things that the husband or the father or whoever did. You're going to take that stuff to the side. Your child has no business being a part of that where they can prejudge that other person. Let them be a child. Let them know that their parents love them, whether they're together, whether they're separated, whatever the case is. Let them know that their parent loves them regardless. And if you guys are fighting or anybody is fighting, nobody has to know. Only thing the child knows is I'm happy, my parents are happy. And that's the only thing that they need to know. Thank you, Kathy, for doing this with me because I really appreciate that. Hold on, you guys. Okay, this one. Your child is not your friend. So when you're hanging out, you're not hanging out with your kids. Kathy says, "Amen." You're not hanging out with your kids. You're not sitting around drinking with your kids. You're not sitting around smoking with your kids. You're not doing any of that. A thing that bothers me, really gets to my nerves. Kathy said, "Hey Mexico, hey Mexico." The thing that gets to my nerves is when parents sit down with their kids and their kids' friends and they allow them to use profanity. What part of the game is that? Because when I was growing up, a lot of stuff I wasn't even allowed to say. A lot of things that I wasn't even allowed to do. But at the same time, what part of the game is it when you allow your kids to sit down with you, like you're on that same level and you're talking and you allowing your kids to use profanity? You sitting down and you're getting high and stuff with your kids. Your kids are gonna get high. Well, some kids are gonna get high. I'm not saying that I'm for it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying my mind, my thoughts. So I'm saying if your friends are going to use profanity, if your friends are going to get high, if your friends are going to get drunk, let them do it with their friends. You don't have to be a part of that. You don't have to be with their friends and with them. Let them enjoy their life. Let them be kids. Let them do what kids do. And if it means going out smoking, it means drinking, it means going to strip club, whatever it means, let them go ahead and just do what they have to do because you trying to be a part of it, it doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is, Deirdre says yes. The reason why this doesn't work is because you have your friends, your kids have their friends. So when you want to be a part of their circle, and then once the friends are not around and then the kids are doing something and you want to discipline them, how does that work? What part of the game is that? Now you want to discipline them. Now you want to be a parent. What part of the game is that? Kathy said everyone got it. Laugh out loud. What part of the game is it though that now you want to discipline the child, but just yesterday you was sitting there smoking with him, you was sitting there drinking with him, you was at the strip club with him, you was doing all this other stuff with your kids. Let your kids have their own friends, let them have their own life, and let them do what they need to do. And I say this because if it comes down that you have to check them or you have to chastise them, you can't do all of that when you sitting there doing the same thing that they're doing. What example are you setting for them? So let them have their own friends so they can do their own thing. Your kids are not a punching bag, okay? You don't like the mother, you don't like the father, you don't take it out on that child. That's not a punching bag. That's not somebody that when your life is not going right or things is not going the way you want them to go and you're not happy and you want somebody to beat up on, your child is not there for that reason. So if you feel that you're upset, maybe you need to take a walk. Or maybe you need to say, let your kid go outside or do something. But don't let that child be a punching bag. Don't let that child be the object. Hold on. I want to put Deirdre's comment up there. Don't let your kids be the object of your stress. Deirdre says you have to have a level of respect. They don't respect you if you are their friend. You're right. Because you can't be friends and be a parent. You can have a great relationship with your kids, but like I always say, there's a fine line that you can't cross. Because once you cross that line, there's no coming back. There is no coming back. I mean, I've seen kids talking to their mothers and they calling them all sorts of bees and stuff like that. And everybody's laughing and joking. But It hits a little different when it becomes serious, and then you want to discipline, and then they calling you bees and stuff still because this is what was going on before. So it hits a little different. So you have to know your limits. And again, that goes back to saying that child is not your punching bag, because now you decide, now I need to be in mommy's mode. I need to be in daddy's mode. But now that child is not listening. That child is talking back. That child is calling me name. Let me just, you know what I'm saying, to straighten this out. No, it doesn't work like that, because you can't be a part-time parent. You have to do it all the time. All the time. So now that you're upset, now you want to beat on this kid. Why are you beating on the kid? Why? Because all the other times when you should have been letting that kid be a kid and grow up, but you didn't do that. So you let that child just run wild and just do whatever the child wanted to do. But now I don't want my child to do that anymore. So since I don't want my child to do that anymore, let me beat some senses into that child. It's too late, because now somebody needs to beat some senses into your head now. I have another one. Hold on, let me bring this down. I got some more stuff, but I can't even see it. Okay, so now, well, I'm going to just go from here because I think I already know what it is, you guys. I got so much stuff here that it's like unbelievable. Hold on, you guys. Okay. You don't hang out. Hold on. Hey, Tina. Tina says, true. I have some kids in my building, and I put them in their place. Do not play with me. I have an uncle. You guys know my Uncle Buddy, right? Uncle Buddy says this right here. If you play with a dog will lick you in the face. If you let a child disrespect you, they will continue to disrespect you. When I was younger and I was growing up, and I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alma City, North Carolina, and everybody knew everybody. Everybody went to the same school. Everybody went to the same church. Every place everybody went, it was the same place. And if you was to do something, somebody else's mother could check you, and it wouldn't be a problem. They would check you and then go tell your mother what they did, because it wasn't all about all that disrespect. But I feel that a lot of reason why the kids are so disrespectful is because parents are allowing them to be disrespectful. You don't need to hang out with your kids and their friends. Let your kids go out and do what they need to do. And then you got kids that are actually raising parents. I know that sounds funny, and you guys are probably saying, how do a kid raise their parent? Because the kid is telling the parent what to do. The kid is telling the parent what they're not going to do. You telling your kid, well, you need to be in by a certain time, and your kid is telling you, well, I'm going to come in when I get ready. I can do this. I can do that. I'm grown. Really? Where do they do this at? Let your kids be kids. If you force your kids to grow up too fast, they're going to miss something. And that part that they're going to miss is that little part called respect. If your kid doesn't respect you when they go out, they're not going to respect other people when they go out. Hold on. Kathy says, yes, I got punished, told my mom, and really got it too. Because that person would chastise you, and then they would do whatever they have to do. But then when they tell your parents is going to do the same thing too. But the way things are this day and age, you say something when these kids outside, and you know what's going to happen. But because this is what is being allowed. You cannot let these kids continue to grow and be the way they are. Because what's going to happen is when you're not around, somebody is going to do something to that child, and you're not going to like it. Deirdre says, yes, exactly. I miss Alma City. We knew everyone, and everyone knew us. Right. So if you did something to somebody, if you were rude, if you were disrespectful, they would do what they had to do. Tell your parents, and you probably would end up getting 2 spankings behind that. One from the person you disrespected and one from your parent, because they gave other people permission. If you see my child doing this right here, you can A, B, C, and D. I have some cousins that, and they say to me, if you see my kid doing this, you know what? You can do this. You can do that. Alexa, stop. If you see my kids doing this, you can do this. You can do that. But then you have other ones that the kids know. Oh, the parents would say, don't touch my kids. Don't say nothing to my kid. If anything needs to be done, I'll take him. And the kids know. So they're out there. They're being rude. They're being disrespectful. Because why? Oh, because I know that you can't say nothing to me. You can't do anything to me because my mother or my father. No. Make your kids have respect for other people. Allow your kids to be kids. Don't allow people to call people adults by their first name. What happened to Mr.? What happened to Mrs.? That's part of raising your kids and making your kids be responsible as being kids. Your kids has no business calling adults by their first name, or they have no business not saying thank you or yes ma'am or no ma'am and stuff like that. Let your kids be kids, because you know what? Those same kids are going to have to grow up, and you may treat them one way, but when they get out in the world, man, that's a cruel world out there. Listen to what I'm telling you. The world is cruel, and they not going to treat your kids the way that you treat them. So when they go out there thinking that they're grown and they're actually kids and they're disrespecting somebody, somebody's going to go upside their head. And what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Because you allow them to be an adult instead of letting them be a kid. Instead of telling them, stay in a child's place. They said when adults are talking, that kids should not be around. Kids should not be a part of an adult's conversation. And I've seen situations where adults are sitting down having conversations and the kids is right there and it's a part of the conversation. Sometimes I have to look at the kid like this and look at the parent like this, like, why are you in this conversation? What do you have to do with this conversation? Allow your kids to be kids. Do not rush your kids to grow up too fast, because you're making a mistake. Sometimes when you force your kids to sit around and watch your kids, what they end up doing, getting pregnant early and having their own kids. Now you have a house full of children. No, allow them to grow up. Allow them to be kids. They don't have to be grown so quickly. They are not responsible for taking care of their siblings. I can see every now and then, you know, I'm going to the store or whatever the case may be. Watch your little brother, watch your little sister. I'll be right back. But for you to go party and hang out, no, you hire a babysitter, because if it's that important for you to be out there acting as an adult, doing your thing, then you should do adult things. Hire a babysitter, like Kathy said. Pay somebody to come in and watch your kids instead of taking your kids' childhood away to have them to stay and watch the other kids. You make sure you feed them. You make sure you give them a bath. You make sure they know what time they have to go to bed. But you pay somebody to watch them. Don't put that responsibility on your kids. I'm going to bring this to a close, but I do say, let kids be kids. Do not force them to grow up so fast, because you are going to regret it and they are going to regret it. I need you guys to do this for me. I need you guys to go to YouTube, because you guys know I have a new YouTube channel. It's called Diva-Villege, Diva-Villege. Go there, subscribe, get notifications, watch it so you can see exactly what's going on. I have some stuff there that I haven't even put on Facebook, because I have a little bit more leeway with stuff that I'm discussing and stuff on that one. Leave comments, good, bad, or indifferent, because you guys know after every show I do go back and I do answer anything that anybody has to say. I still have my Bandcamp where you can still order merchandise. I still have merchandise. If you're living in the city and you happen to be on 8th Avenue, walk past the tattoo shop, because I have my bags, my bottles, and my shirts. And it's right there in Joe's tattoo shop. My stuff is sitting there right in the window there. Yay! I'm taking steps. Other than that, you guys, all I want to say to you guys is thank you guys so very much for coming and being a part of this. Tune in every Sunday night, because you remember, it's an 8-show season. So whatever you miss, you can always go back and watch. If you have any ideas or any shows that you want me to talk about. And Deirdre, I didn't forget about you, because yours is on the horizon. I just had to put my thoughts and stuff together for it, but it is soon coming too. And like I always say, you guys, my mind, my thoughts. I'll see you guys next week. Love you.